Good morning. I will call the Cook County Board of Commissioners Annual Organizational Meeting in 2026 to order. We begin our meeting with the pledge. Please rise. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we begin our meeting, we will need to have the election of the 2026 County Board Chair in order. So I will open for nominations. Commissioner Sullivan?
Madam Chair, thank you so much. One of the things I've done a lot of thinking about is that we have a new county administrator who has just had a few months under her belt to work with us, and I would like to recommend that we continue the leadership with Chair Storley and as Vice Chair Commissioner Mills to continue in your role to work with our new administrator.
Thank you on that. Commissioner White?
No offense, but I would like to nominate Gary Gamble, and I personally do not want to be in a leadership role, which you can fill in the reasons why.
Okay. So we have two nominations. Commissioner Board
Are you
Chair.
interested?
Wait a minute.
Oh, we have to go there, okay.
Board Chair Storley and Commissioner Gamble. Yes, Commissioner Gamble?
I appreciate the nomination. I would agree with the continuity. I think trying to keep some things the same in the midst of everything is important. I would encourage and my desire to be board chair would simply be predicated on the desire to connect with our county administrator in direction. And I think two things can be achieved. If we keep the continuity, as Commissioner Sullivan suggests, and we make a commitment for board involvement in a process under the facilitation of our county administrator, I think we can do good things. But I think we need to do things different than we've been doing them. And that should be seen as an opportunity, not a negative, but a positive opportunity, both for we as a board and our effectiveness and the community and our staff. And if we were to ask the question of what would help you in your position, maybe something staying the same for a change would be helpful. So I would support the recommendation.
Okay. Okay, so we have before us a recommendation of Storley and Mills. Sorry. Of Storley and Mills. And I understand then, Commissioner Gamble, you're withdrawing?
Yes,
Okay.
with the understanding, and I
Yes.
appreciate the nomination.
Right.
And again, my only desire would be simply to use the opportunity that we have to make sure that the board and the involvement in the community and that we see how we approach things under our new leadership. Very hopeful, but if that is understood foundationally, then I withdraw.
Okay. Commissioner Sullivan?
Madam Chair, thank you. I appreciate that, Commissioner Gamble, and I too feel like the continuity is important, and I do feel we've had wonderful involvement with our new administrator and feel that there's a willingness to listen, to dig deep, and to really look at the long term and get input from the community as well as the commissioners. So I appreciate that.
Okay. So Commissioner Mills, are you, sorry.
Commissioner Storley?
Yes.
If I can add, thank you for the comments, and thank you, Commissioner Gamble, as well. And I'm always willing to hear how I can better communicate with the commissioners and ensure that as operational decisions are being made, that I'm ensuring that I'm engaging all of the board in that. So please let me know if there are ways that I can improve that as well.
Okay. Okay, so Commissioner Mills, are you willing to serve for this 2026 year?
As vice chair, yeah. Yeah. I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm willing to serve. Thank you for your support. And I don't know if we need to take a vote. I mean, I think we kind of agreed, but we'll take a vote just to make sure we have it on the record. So all in favor of Commissioner Storley and Mills? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, anybody? Same sign. Thank you. Thank you. We'll move on then for adjustments and additions to the agenda that Brady would have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm asking two things: to add on to set a public hearing to change miscellaneous fees and make that on January 27th, I think at 9 a.m. if there isn't a conflict. Specifically, this would be for the fees for the new beacon system. It's possible that we'll have changing fees. We're still negotiating with them. But we need to do it as quickly as possible because until it gets settled, the system, the online system is down. So that's why I asked to add it on today. And then the quickest we could do it would be the 27th. If we don't need to change, then we just won't need the hearing, so. So add that on. The second thing is I'm requesting to move my items up right after you could set the meeting schedule. I have to leave by 9, so.
Okay, so we will go ahead and discuss the public hearing and set a date for that, which he said is the 27th at 9 a.m.
That looks good on the calendar.
Yeah.
It was the 27th?
27th at 9 a.m., the new beacon system.
And Commissioner Gamble?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I had received a letter from St. Louis County Commissioner Keith Nelson at our ARC board meeting requesting a letter of resolution and support for St. Louis County to go to the members of the Minnesota House and Senate Capital Investment Committees. This is in support of St. Louis County's #1 legislative priority, which is their Canyon Integrated Solid Waste Management Campus. This letter has been drafted, and I can give it to a county administrator, and then if it's done, it provides instructions.
Okay, that would be good. Thank you on that. Anything from anyone else? Okay. So Brady, since you'll be leaving, would you like to go ahead and bring up anything that it would be important for us to know?
Yeah, after you approve this, then I can move ahead with those items on the schedule.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. So the first item is designation of the county primary depository. Under our policy, you actually give me the authority to set the depository, and we've used Grand Marais State Bank for a number of years. We're very happy with working with them, and I'd like to approve it again with Grand Marais State Bank, and I ask you to approve that by resolution that's attached.
Commissioner Sullivan?
A question that I have is, I know that there were remarks about positive pay being initiated by Grand Marais State Bank. Do we have a timeline on that?
We're working on it. We've been working on it daily. Bev's on vacation right now. We've been sending samples back and forth just to refine it. So we should be up and running in January,
Great. All
very,
right.
very soon.
Thank you. Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you.
Commissioner Gamble?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So I'd make a motion to elect Grand Marais State Bank as our depository 2026.
Support?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So the next item are the non-county levies, and I'm asking you just to approve the spread and collection of the 2026 non-county levies. These include the city, the towns, the hospital, all the entities that we collect levies for and then distribute those funds to. And so this just formalizes that process.
Any questions or comments on that?
I'd like to make a motion to approve by resolution, spread and collection of 2026 non-county levies.
I'll support.
Okay. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next item is to set the county's final budget and levy by resolution. The county board approved the levy increase of 7.57 on December 16. The very next day, I got Arrowhead Regional Corrections, their final budget and levy request, and I put it in here as a suggestion. It's a reduction from what we had in our budget in the general fund, so it's a reduction of $12,213. And I put it in front of you as additional use of fund balance reduction. So we have less expense, less use of fund balance, and the same levy, if that's acceptable. Or you could make a different decision, but that's what I've put in front of you.
Any comments or questions on that? Commissioner Sullivan?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve by resolution the county final 2026 budget and levy as presented.
I'll support.
Further comments or questions? Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When we initially took a vote on this, I was opposed. I continue to be opposed on the basis of principle. In my earlier comments in today's meeting about as we move forward under new leadership, what I'm hopeful for. And so I say this respectfully, but my no vote is simply because I was discouraged in the process. Much of what we arrived at came because of outside things, not internal. Roll up our sleeves and work hard at reducing costs. There is a quote that my son had paraphrased from Psalm 16, and I review this very often, and I would respectfully just say it because it is a reminder for me. Then there are those who only seem to serve themselves at someone else's expense, and the cost is great. The pain is great. I don't want to contribute to that economy, that scarcity. And so I think as a stewardship responsibility as an elected official, trying to do everything that I can to be a good steward and earn that trust is important. And I'm hopeful that as we go into this year, that some of the things that we say, well, next year we'll address this, next year we'll do this, this is that next year. And we need to see the substance of things hoped for. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So we have before us the resolution of the county final budget and levy resolution. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 3-2. Thank you on all that. Brady?
Thank you. Next item is the approval of a newspaper for legal publications. So in the packet is the only bid we received from the Cook County News Herald. It's at the same rate as last year with one adjustment in that it's now a smaller newspaper, and so the column inches are not 1 by 2, it's 1 by 1.6, so. And they also provided their current subscriptions, et cetera, proving they're illegal newspapers. So I'd
I
ask
guess
for approval of
at this
the-
point, we're lucky we have a newspaper.
Yes.
And we'll keep it going even with county information, nonetheless. Okay, any questions or comments on that? Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brady, just a question as to the requirement. There's nothing that specifies particulars relative to point size, column width, anything. It's just having a paper that is recognized and it is the vehicle. of
Yeah,
which
they have to provide coverage throughout the county,
Right,
and they have to cover so much news.
yeah,
For example, I've actually encouraged others
sure.
just to have competition, but they don't qualify because they don't have those qualifications of the number of subscribers and the amount of news versus advertising and things like that, so.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
And-
Madam
Thank
Chair,
you,
may I
Brady,
ask
and
who
all
made
that.
the motion on that?
Mhm.
There wasn't a motion on that. I will make a motion.
Support, yeah.
Approve, yeah, publication, legal notice, Cook
Yes,
County News
yeah.
Herald.
I get caught up in the discussion.
Sure,
about
no, I understand.
The font size and all that. Okay, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
and
Thank you, Brady. Is there
Thanks.
anything else?
Just the last item or did you make a motion on that? The last time was to set the public hearing to change the miscellaneous fees, so I think we need a motion
We do.
on
Yep.
that.
So we're set. Commissioner Sullivan?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to establish the public hearing on January 27th, 2026, at 9 a.m. to establish fees for the new beacon system.
Support.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner White?
Could we just explain to the public what the beacon system is?
It's a redesign of the property tax, basically. I'm not sure if you guys, have you looked out and seen it? Yeah, I think it's a pretty dramatic change. It'll be easier to use, it'll make more sense intuitively for people, and there's more information besides on their own properties, et cetera. So it's a big step forward.
I just made would like to make a comment that I knew it was undergoing change because I took a look at my own property this past weekend and couldn't pull it up. So it is
Yeah.
being worked on and is scheduled to be completed this week.
Yes, Administrator.
If I can add, it was scheduled to be completed this week, however, we have run into some complications, and so that's why we might need to have a public hearing and bring it back to the board on the 27th, but we're hoping to get it finalized as soon as possible.
Yeah, the system itself is great. It's the fees, and so they've proposed some fees that are slightly different from what we're paying now. In order to make any change, we have to go through a public hearing process. We're hoping that in discussion, they may agree to just leave the fees, and then we can put it up very, very soon, so.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This might already be being done, but I think certainly when you say property taxes, that should garner some interest. It would be good in advance of that if we have an article or something in layman's terms that lays out what is going to happen and why we're having the public hearing, so that the public knows and can respond. If the public isn't informed as to the nature of change, then it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
And we want to be as transparent and upfront on this, so the more that we can communicate the need and the reason and how it benefits, the better it would be prior to that meeting.
Yeah, we will. This kind of came up in a hurry. We
Okay.
kinda, the team working on this thought that the fees were not going to change. So there was a little bit of surprise at the end.
Okay.
That the proposed change, but,
And if I can add as well, Chair, we are planning on an article, I believe it will be posted on January 16th, if I'm not mistaken. We have that draft, and we'll add additional information to update the community as that's released.
and I'm sure Rowan will be here if we have a public hearing on this, so.
Okay. That takes care of everything, explanation and all that. Thank you, Brady. So next item, we'll begin to look at the meeting schedule for the Cook County Board of Commissioners. And right now, we're looking at our regular meeting to be the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 8:30 a.m. And then on the third Tuesday of each month, we'll have the Committee of the Whole at 10:30. And AMC Conference, right now, we're scheduled for December 6th through 9th. And then our regular meeting would be December 1st. December 15th would be the second meeting, and then no Committee of the Whole in December of 26th. So, any discussion on our meeting times, dates, and all that? Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just say that in setting this, in the first of the year and looking at that for planning purposes, that's beneficial. When we come to the holiday season, then we made some adjustments to our normal schedule. My question is, have we in the past year or years seen any adjustments that have been necessitated by things that come up, or are we pretty much committed to this schedule with the one unusual being during the holidays?
Commissioner Sullivan?
If I could just respond, thank you, Madam Chair. The actual change was not made because of the holidays, it was made because of the AMC Annual Conference. The date of that conference changed a couple of years back, so that is what initiated these adjustments.
Okay. So everything that we know, that in setting this, we're aware of all those things, so pretty much we can punch it into the calendars. Yeah.
Right.
Understanding that if something comes up, we change, but, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
The only thing I'm concerned about is if I read it right, in September, we go to Alexandria for our meeting, and right now they have it scheduled in Bemidji, if I'm reading that right. That third week of September is really a bad one. There's a lot of commissioners, we meet in Duluth for 2 different meetings. So I think maybe I will send a note to Julie, just saying heads up. That's, and maybe they only could schedule it for that particular week, but it's going to be a big decision maker about, in my particular case, Duluth or the meeting over there, so. But we have time to discuss it, but I want to make sure that I'm reading that right in the AMC calendar. Okay, yeah, so other than just something that would come up that would say, this is not our normal schedule, we make adjustments. But for right now, we know that AMC is December 6th to the 9th. Commissioner Sullivan.
And one thing that is to our benefit is now that the legislature has made changes on open meeting law, we can attend some of our other meetings virtually. So if we happen to be in Bemidji and need to attend meetings, we can do so.
Yeah, much more flexible now,
Right.
thank goodness. Okay, so any other questions? Otherwise, I'll ask for an approval on this.
I'll make a motion to set the 2026 meeting schedule for the Board of Commissioners.
I'll support.
Any further comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes unanimously. Okay, on that, then, now we're going to look at appointing various people to different departments. AMC is one of them, but we'll start with the board chair, vice chair, so we've accomplished that. Okay. And then moving on to AMC with the different policy appointments. Any changes there? Environmental and Natural Resources, Commissioner Sullivan?
Madam Chair, I'd be willing to serve again in that committee. This would be my 6th year in the committee, and I feel like because of some of the work groups I've been in, it would be very beneficial to the county for me to continue in that area.
Thank you on that. General Government Policy?
Same.
Okay. And then I will continue to serve on the Health and Human Services, Public Safety.
I'll continue to serve on that.
Okay. And then Transportation and Infrastructure. So we have a situation there where I think Commissioner White and I still get their information. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, so we're kind of up to speed with that.
absolutely.
And then when we go to AMC, sometimes I try to sneak in and get their agenda and see what they're talking about. Commissioner Sullivan?
I was going to say, too, we do have the authority to put another staff person in from the county, and would it make sense to have our highway engineer, Robbie Hess, be appointed to that?
We could do that. Usually he's able to go to the meetings,
Yes.
AMC in general, so that
Commissioner
would,
White, what would?
That would make a lot of sense,
All right.
because, yeah, it just would.
and you'd still be up to date with what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The other thing I would suggest is that when we look at our AMC assignments relative to the breakout sessions that they have, that it would make sense that they align with things, both the interest and the participation on the part of commissioners with other committees that they are part of. So in other words, when we look at the highway, that if you're sitting on the Highway Advisory Committee and you're dealing with this in another area, the more that is intentional and well-aligned, I think it has greater benefit than bouncing around with different subject matter, if you follow what I'm saying. And I think it falls in line with the overall evaluation of commissioner assignments. I think we need to look at it through various lenses in our evaluation moving forward. And so and for the public, understanding that our participation in the Association of Minnesota Counties, that when we attend events there, that we have these various committees that we participate in so that we can benefit from the interaction with other county administrators and with presenters on topics that we are involved in specifically as commissioners. So that's a good thing. All of these other committees and assignments, I think that there needs to be an evaluation before assigning. I did put together an outline just from my perspective, and I would suggest that we basically table this so that we can have that discussion prior to making assignments, and we need an evaluation, and the evaluation shouldn't be whether we're comfortable individually with what we're doing. It should be based upon benefit back to, the community. If I look at
So, excuse me, Commissioner Gamble. Let's just finish this policy, because we're not into our assignments yet. We'll just finish the policy, membership, and then the voting delegates. When we're done with that, then we
Yeah.
can go on to
Sure.
our committees
Yeah, you're-
and commissions and all of that.
yeah, we're talking AMC.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And we need to hear from Allison, too, before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of our assignments.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know that I did check in with Engineer Haas, and he is willing to serve in that capacity.
Good, okay, thank you for doing that. So that is complete. So then, the AMC voting delegate appointments. And I've been appointed to MCIT. Commissioner Sullivan?
I would like to consider recommending some of our department heads to serve in those roles. And as I was thinking, I believe that Assessor Thompson would be very valuable, given some of the legislative initiatives that are coming up. I also think that Tim Nelson is someone who has decades of knowledge, and when we're looking at some pretty significant things in the area of natural resources and environment, would be important. I understand he is retiring and will be leaving, but we can cross that bridge and appoint someone else at that point in time. So those were two people that just came up in terms of additional appointments for delegates. Do other commissioners have thoughts? Because we could have a third.
I would highly recommend Administrator Treble. There's 8, so we can have 5 commissioners, but if one commissioner isn't able to be there, we can have, 4 additional members. So there's Robbie, Tim, Kristen, and Grace, or
Bob?
Bob.
Yeah.
We could add Grace as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a good conversation. I think it makes our decisions as opposed to just a routine. It's more intentional understanding how can we be more effective, and I think the involvement with the people that is significant. I'm a little uncomfortable, but that the discussion happens now without digging deeper into understanding where we have these opportunities in making this recommendation. I would say that tentatively the direction we're going relative to our assignments individually as commissioners, I think we could ratify that, but I would recommend that we dig a little deeper and look at those alignments as Commissioner Sullivan has suggested moving forward. If there's no timeline that says we have to get to AMC and tell them right now, but.
I think, first of all, we need to approach them to see how they feel about
Sure.
it. So
I
maybe
agree.
we would be ready in a couple of weeks so that we would have some decisions, and then we could fill this in better. Commissioner White?
And then I was thinking Rowan Watkins, because of communications and emergencies, and any question you come up with, he will have the answer to it. He'll have answers to questions we don't know, so.
And I also think we should consider Grace, because this next year, there will likely be a lot of public health and human services issues that will be discussed by AMC. So I do agree with postponing this discussion, and maybe we put it on the next board agenda so that I have an opportunity to talk with staff and try to determine what are the most important priorities for this next year in terms of having them engaged in the process, if that makes sense to all of you.
It does. So we have, for consideration, Tim, Bob, Rowan, and Grace. Anybody else that you can think of? Commissioner Gamble?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. As a suggestion, maybe if we look at those committees and the outline objective of each of those committees, then we would know how they align with various departments in the county. So in other words, when you look at what you're, going to be exposed to or participate in by the nature of the conversation based upon the outline defining what that committee does, that would help us know how it aligns with our departments. So that should be what we look at prior to coming into that discussion.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I think that, looking at what each committee does and their priorities, but I think it's very critical to look at what is the proposed legislation at this point and the AMC recommendations for amendments.
Sure.
Because there is not funding in the legislature. We are talking about some significant statutory changes, and so I think we need to keep in mind what has been proposed as amendments.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll table that until the next meeting, or until those folks have been contacted. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm wondering if Allison would be ready to,
Allison is not able to be here today, Chair,
Oh,
but I can certainly talk about the resolutions regarding the salaries.
yes, because this is something new. in terms of us bringing it before the board.
Correct.
Yes.
Would you like me to proceed?
Yes,
Okay.
proceed.
This is, as you mentioned, this is something that is new, but this is something that has been brought to my attention by AMC as being something that is outlined in statute as a requirement. So per statute, the board has the responsibility to establish by resolution the minimum and annual salaries to be paid to its elected officials. In the past, it's my understanding that we have brought forward the annual salaries, but not the minimum. And so this year, to be in compliance with statute, we've added the minimum as well. And the reason that is required is it's prior to an election year to make sure that the community is aware of what the minimum salary would be for those positions. So this impacts 3 positions for us: our auditor treasurer position, our county sheriff, and our county attorney. And so before us, we have 3 separate resolutions for each one of those positions, outlining the annual salary as well as the minimum annual salary that could be paid for this next year. And I'll ask our county attorney who assisted with this process if there's anything that I've missed. Okay.
Okay. So as I understand it, it's only during an election year that this would be brought forth?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe that's correct. Is that your understanding as well?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Okay, thank you on that. Questions or comments?
Well,
Commissioner
the
Mills?
minimums were set by our pay grid.
Yes, it's the bottom, step 1, the bottom of the grade, essentially.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve by resolution minimum salaries for each Cook County elected official.
Support.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we have taken care of every little thing before we get to the committees and all that. Maybe I would like the administrator just to give the workshop idea, just so we can kind of think about that, and then we'll go on to our longer discussion on committees. So the 2020 shop workshop, discuss and set date.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. So in the past, it's my understanding that the board has had different work sessions or retreats or workshops or whatever you might call them. My understanding is the last one was focused on leadership development. And so I'd like to just propose that we have a 2026 workshop that we can work on developing what that agenda would look like. I have worked with Commissioner Storley to determine some potential dates for a workshop like that. And so we have 2 dates, January 30th or February 27th, that I would propose to the board.
And both of these are on a Friday. The last week of the month also, which for a lot of people, hopefully that'll work. Schedules aren't quite as heavy at the end of the month. Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm wondering, in preparation for that, if, as far as defining what that workshop will encompass, that's one thing. What will that be?
Sure.
And then number 2, having homework prior to, so that we're up and running when we set aside that time. Those 2
Yeah.
questions.
Great questions. Do you mind if I respond, Madam
Go
Chair?
ahead.
Okay. So first of all, what I would like to do is to collect data from each one of the board commissioners regarding, what do you think are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and things that you might be interested in discussing collectively. And then from that, develop an agenda. In terms of homework, I think that depends on the topic that's selected.
Sure.
And this is an area where in my last job, I did a lot of work around workshops and team coaching and things like that. And so I would follow just kind of a typical protocol, which is collecting that information and developing an agenda based on that, as well as any potential homework or efforts that we would want to take before that.
Commissioner Gamble?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So in our packet this time was some information in your meeting with the MAT team. And it'd be interesting, I mean, if we could just look at that outline as to what their interests are. If the question were asked, what is it that you would like to see the board equipped to, you know, be
Yeah.
able to work in harmony, so to speak, and be more aligned, that seeing the organization and then figuring out how we get that all working, that would be one of the questions I guess I would ask is how does this connect with what your priorities and things are?
So I'm smiling because I think we think alike
Yeah,
in this
okay.
regard.
Yeah.
I've started asking some of those questions to a couple of our staff and anticipate collecting more information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think what it does is it brings substance to all of the players, and this is where, when we realize what we do and how that connects with community, that all of that is hugely important. So sometimes it's easy to be single in our focus and not recognize the ripple effect without that inclusion. So I think that's important.
We can definitely do that.
Thank you.
Anything else on that, then?
So my question at this point is just if there's support in moving forward with a work session, and if so, if there's a particular date that might look better than the other.
I would say,
Commissioner Mills?
I fully support, and sooner is better, I think, from my perspective, January 30th. And since February is just a little bit shorter, it compresses things in the month there.
Yeah. Okay.
But either date works for me, just to put that out.
So are you thinking maybe the January one would be the best?
That'd be, I think, my preference, but I'm open. I
Okay.
don't have a strong,
I would
Any
say the
other-
27th, but,
oh, okay. Well, I'm fine with that.
yeah.
If that's better for you, that's fine with me.
Well,
Okay. Well, why don't, if anyone has a conflict, because I understand this, this is just a question in front of us today, so why don't you look at your calendars, and if anyone has a conflict with a particular date, let me know, and then we can move forward with scheduling it. Okay.
Sounds good. Commissioner Sullivan?
I do think once we have commissioner assignments, then we can better
Right.
decide whether or not we are available.
Okay. And did you have any other updates?
I do not.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay, so Commissioner Gamble has handed out some suggestions here on committee assignments, so we can start with you. Going through all of these 9 points, I would say that right now, we'll certainly consider all of these, because we go to committees and conferences and all of that with the most understanding that what we do there to bring back to the county is really important. And they all have a goal of, this is our goal. Like AMC has a definite goal. North Shore Scenic Drive has a definite goal. Firewise has a definite goal. So, but I think we'll look here and see what Commissioner Gamble would like us to think about. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, predecessor Commissioner Johnson, who sat in 2nd District prior to my coming into the position, had submitted a letter with her observations, and she had a significant portion of that letter that addressed committees. And I think some of her points are well taken. Each of us experience, certainly Commissioner Starley, you've been on many committees over the years, so you know the benefits, and there are committees that in my first term I questioned the value of the committees, and we no longer participated in one of those committees. And I think it's just a healthy thing to evaluate and to do that on an annual basis, so that we come to the table and we say, here's what I think, but we have to establish some criteria that defines what are we going to evaluate it based on. And so I would like to see some discipline in that process. And I think that there's other ways in which we can receive communication. I will say as an example, I sit on the hospital board. So I sat on the hospital board in my first term, and we were on the agenda, meaning that I gave an update to the hospital board on what's happening in the county. That's no longer the case. So what I do is I go and I sit as an observer. I don't vote on anything. I don't comment on anything unless I want to make a public comment, which I have done. But this is an evaluation to see, are there ways that we can gain the information that comes out of that without having to make it a committee that we are assigned to? If the leadership committee, the community leadership committee, becomes more substantial in its effectiveness, I think it's an area where we can gain the bullet point information that really is beneficial to us and to, the community. So I think it's a discussion to say, are there other ways we can do this? And in what I've laid out there as suggested evaluation is, if it's something that's mandated, then obviously we need to comply. And in our compliance, it's not just a matter of meeting the expectation, it's a matter of saying, okay, what do we collectively want to bring out of this participation so that it has benefit that's tangible and measurable to our community? And the second thing is, if we have voting authority. If we have voting authority, obviously we want a voice at the table. If we don't, then we're there as a listener, and there's other ways in which we can listen that doesn't involve the investment of both time and money. This isn't a statement that is predicated on trying to do less work. This is a statement that is predicated on stewardship of time and resource and value back to the taxpayer. And so all of these different things are things that I think we need to do. And in Commissioner Johnson's statements as she left, one of the statements she says is that when we bring these things up, we say, well, we'll have to do that next year. We'll do it at our organizational. She says, I have mentioned this to the board on more than one occasion. I have been told that this will be discussed by the next board again at the January 2025 organizational meeting. And it doesn't happen. So we need to do something that makes this happen. That's my recommendation. And I think it's supported by previous commissioners that have been in the position and have questions sometimes why we attend certain meetings.
So taking these 9 points today, as we look over our committees that we're already on and future, because I have a couple things that are tentative that's not on the list. Commissioner White had a question too. How do you want to proceed?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And certainly this is just something that I'm not sitting in a position to control this. Sitting in a position to encourage that each of us lend our experience and our knowledge, and that we build something around it to build more integrity in this process. And I think it's just a healthy thing to do. And annually, once we learn the expectation, there are counties that will take a certain segment because they have a lot of committees, and they'll evaluate a certain percentage of those each year. And I think it'd just be good that we do it so that we don't get comfortable with the rhythm of how we've done things in the past, but we evaluate it to be more substantive. So.
Commissioner White?
And how many times have I encountered people saying, boy, you go to a lot of committees, what are you, why? Which is like, why? What do you gain? How come there are so many? Or it's like, oh, or someone will be sympathetic and say, I'm so sorry you have to travel or to do whatever, but I think it's really important. It's transparency. It's like the more everyone is exposed to and understands how the government works and all the facets that are out there in the community, and not just our local community, but the greater community, the stronger we will be. And even though we still have to pay taxes, but, it's just, it's like you have a car and it's running and you don't have to worry about it, but if you don't worry about it, you gotta pay the money some point, so.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I just want to thank Commissioner Gamble, Madam Chair, for bringing this up. In the time I've worked as commissioner, it started out that you inherited committees. And it was not long ago that we started to analyze those committees to make certain they were appropriate, that they fit a person's district, or fit a need for the county. And I just see that this is a continuing evolution of us getting meaner and leaner and smarter about how we work. And so I really appreciate that. And I think as we go through our list of committees, I know I have identified and I've shared with Commissioner Storley some committees that we can drop off the list, or we should have a discussion as commissioners about that. And so I really appreciate you bringing this forward. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, yeah, it's not a matter of abdicating responsibility or wanting to get lazy. It's a matter, as Commissioner Sullivan has said, that we want to be smarter at what we do, and it's not a statement towards any one committee or task force or anything else. There'll be things that come up. You can take preserve the bluff, and both Commissioner Sullivan and myself volunteered and participated in that because it was an issue that we wanted to see some action based upon the motion that was made to try to move forward. And so there needs to be some criteria that defines it. It's not a feeling or an assumption. The criteria is well defined by this group, and we just evaluate in that context. And again, it doesn't mean that these organizations are less important. It's just that we need to find ways to do this that are maybe better stewardship of our time.
And Administrator Trouble?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Gamble. I agree as well. I think these are really good questions, and there were a number of changes made this year, or proposed changes for discussion this year. Resources are limited, and so we want to make sure that the committees that you're all assigned to are the highest value for the community. And they're all important. So it's trying to figure out, like you said, what's the criteria that we use to make sure that that's met. I do think that it's a work in progress, that we've taken some steps, and I think that this can be helpful as we move forward into the future as well. So I just wanted to say thank you as well.
We have two listings here. We have all of this, but we also have this, which I think is more important to go through this because it shows who the alternate is and the time and the date and all of that. So I think I'd like to start with each district. So Commissioner White, do you have any corrections or any additions or anything that you'd like to discuss with us on your committees and
Well, I don't have that page in front of me. Anyway, is the 911 committee on there? Because that is one that I have gone to since the beginning of my term.
Yes,
Yes, that's on,
Okay.
as a quarterly
Let me just see
assignment.
what you got here.
first Wednesday at 11 a.m. This is from Jana's email.
Right, and I have it.
Listed by name, and it's on
When is it?
page 7 of 8.
Yep,
It's under
Oh, look at
communications
this.
/ armor / towers / E91 committee.
right.
Yeah,
One thing I'd like to mention,
It's the same.
the listing that you have, Ginny, when I started here, that was the commissioner assignment listing that we used. Last year, I developed a different spreadsheet showing the various committees and boards and the commissioner assignment listings. So that's what this one is. And what it is it breaks boards and committees out alphabetically by the committee name, and then lists the primary commissioner assigned, alternate if there is one, and then all the different details. And the reason why I did that is because the previous listing while it's easy to quickly see, hey, these are all the committees that, say, Commissioner White serves on, or, you know, or you, every time there was a change or an update, I would have to make changes in two different spots, and it just did not seem to make sense or made more work for me. So that's why I have this new updated listing that I sent to everybody.
So we'll go alphabetical now.
Yeah, if that works, you know.
We'll give
Again,
it a
I know
try.
that presents problems, you know, when trying to just look at each commissioner's assignments, but to me, it made more sense. And also, I was able to break out the information about the meeting location, frequency, you know, stuff like that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, one thing I really appreciate, thank you, Jana, for the tools. What I really appreciate is you sent 3 different
Oh,
PDFs.
right.
One,
Yeah.
and all 3 are very helpful. One is, like you said, alphabetical by committee. One is by primary commissioner assignment, and one is by alternate. So I think, depending on what we need, what use, all 3 of those could be really helpful. So
Okay.
if we wanted to go by commissioner, we can.
Yeah.
But if it's easier now to go alphabetical, we can do that too. So
Okay,
it's just,
okay.
I really appreciate your work.
Yeah, and it was, the idea for this type of spreadsheet, I found, I can't remember what website, but it was another county's website, you know, where they shared the information of commissioner assignments, or different boards and committees. And I developed this based on, you know, that. I thought, that seems to make sense, for me anyway, so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sullivan.
And I will just say the one that lists committees by commissioner and listing primary only is for the purpose of balancing, which Commissioner Gamble mentioned, making sure that we have balanced work assignments.
Okay, starting with active living. Commissioner White, you're with that?
Yes, except, yes, active living, but they are going to have to change their date. It hasn't, they've now, it conflicts with the commissioners' meeting.
Oh,
And that is just a new thing. It has not always been like that, so I've not been able to attend in any way.
so it says the first Tuesday. Is that not right?
Well, they met last week, I don't remember when they met,
okay.
but
They've
it's
changed
happened 2 months in a row now,
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
so,
I'll check with Christina Mattson
Yes.
about
Okay.
the date.
yes.
All right.
And that one is, it's not in person, it's online, we Zoom.
Okay. Airport advisory?
Airport Advisory, I would be happy to continue with. It's an extremely important and active group, particularly given master planning and some of the changes in funding for MnDOT Aeronautics and for the FAA. And that would continue to meet the 3rd Thursday and is both at the airport and hybrid.
AMC Indian Affairs?
That and the Tribal Forum typically meet at the same time, and I am happy to continue with that.
Okay,
And
continue.
it says may not have met in 2025, and we did meet on 2 occasions.
Right.
Okay.
AMC Policy Environment?
Happy to continue. That aligns very much with the work for the Cook County Invasives Team, for aquatic invasive species, for the Cook County Coalition of Lakes, for my solid waste work group. So it really ties in with many of the other committees that I serve on.
Administrator Trevor?
Thank you. I noticed that we have a question under the Tribal Forum, under the alternative. Will Commissioner White continue as the alternative for that
I'm
committee?
not able to travel, so, and they don't do it, there's no virtual option
Okay,
at
all right.
all.
Do we need an alternative for that committee?
We have not in the past. I would feel like I could contact the commissioners, or I could contact you if need be, so I don't feel that we need to have an alternate.
Thank you.
Okay. AMC Policy General Government?
Yep, that sounds good. Looks good. There's not a regular meeting schedule, but Usually there's at least one meeting before our policy meeting in the fall, as well as the annual conference. We'll see about the legislative, or the legislative session
Okay.
this, beginning of this year.
AMC Public Health and Human Service, I will continue to attend that. AMC Public Safety,
So we've just met, during the AMC, and that's fine, I can continue with that.
and then AMC Policy on Solid Waste, that's a big topic that has now come before us. Commissioner Sullivan.
And that really is typically a Zoom meeting and ties in with the AMC Environment and Natural Resources. So where it says it for AMC Environment and Natural Resources, we meet quarterly. 2 of those are specifically for amendments and policies, and 2 of those are for solid waste. So they are really, in essence, one committee.
Okay.
AMC Policy and Transportation, well, we're going to maybe have somebody fill in there in the future.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. So back to solid waste, is that a subcommittee?
Yes, it's a
Okay,
work
yeah,
group.
okay,
That's
thank you.
correct.
Yeah. Okay, Transportation, we're working on that, per our suggestion with Robbie.
Yes. Correct.
Invasive species, that would be, I suggest Commissioner Sullivan.
Commissioner
And-
Storley? I thought I was assigned to the aquatic invasive species. I mean, I've been attending when they remember to send me but if Commissioner Sullivan would like it, I mean, it's an interesting group.
I think Commissioner Sullivan was thinking about it would tie in
It would tie in with
with
the
the
environmental
Lake
stuff.
Association meetings and so
Yeah.
forth,
Sure,
Okay.
Madam Chair?
and you would continue as alternate.
sure.
Commissioner,
This brings up a good discussion point, about silos, pigeonholes, and the value of diversity of our committees. I, for a bit, was on, I kind of had the lockhold on all public health and human services, aside from the AMC, but in our community, and that really gave me a good overall perspective of the systems that we have and the issues in our community and the needs. But what I discovered is it almost excluded other commissioners. And so since that time, we've kind of spread those out, and I've seen a lot of value, both in, my workload, but also with other commissioners having more and broader perspective of the different. So I just want to be wary of that. And I don't know, I don't have a strong feeling on the aquatic invasive species, but I do see value in both ways.
Yeah.
So,
But I would think it would be better in this case for the aquatic invasive species,
okay.
for Commissioner Sullivan to.
And I would imagine it'd be a little bit like the highway advisory. We both go anyway.
Yeah, and it's,
Because it's valuable to our constituents, and at particular times, there's a lot of discussion about one particular district, and so,
Yes.
yeah.
and since
Either
we
way
have
is
the
fine.
districts that really are sucking the life out of the highway department, or giving them a job to do, it's good to have us both there to be able to hear it firsthand.
So Commissioner Sullivan will continue on with the aquatic species with Commissioner White alternate. Arrowhead Coalition for Multiple Use. Commissioner White, is that something, they've not
I have
met?
never met with,
No,
Yeah, okay.
and that would be with the active living. That's what I was assuming. It was like it would,
Can we remove that committee? We can always add things back.
yeah, I don't, since I've not met in 2 years, I think, like,
Okay.
do they still exist?
I don't think
Who
if you
they
met
are.
in 2 years that it should be there. You can always ask the question, but it's,
I don't know of whom to ask.
Yeah, no, I would recommend we
Right.
remove it.
So we'll eliminate that for now?
Yeah.
Okay. Arrowhead County Association, I'll continue with that. Up till now, I've been treasurer, but we'll see. We have new elections coming up too, also.
Have they got somebody that stepped in there in that role that John Ongaro was previous?
No, he's still continuing this year.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay,
Up through May, when we're done. And
okay.
we discontinue our meetings over the summer, so we'll see. He's our representative in the legislature. So, yeah, he's continuing. We voted for him last fall. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I just quick did a search for the Arrowhead Coalition for Multiple Use, and they are active, but it's been a while since, it looks like the last thing I see is from April of last year. And it has to do with, let's say, there's the Flintlock Swap Meet, the John Bear Grease, Sawtooth Bluffs, looks like Snowmobile Club, Gunflint Trail Association. So those are some of the areas that it touches on, but I don't know anything about their meeting schedule or who's the administrator or coordinator for that, so. But if it's already decided that we don't need to be there, then I'm not pushing for anything. Just wanted to share info.
Commissioner
Madam Chair,
Gamble?
my recommendation is that if it's not active, and we can define what active is, that we let them come after us as opposed to us keeping it on the list. And then if we have established criteria, that's a criteria. It's the same thing in just, distributing tax dollars for non-mandated, that we have to have some criteria that makes a determination. And when it's equally applied, then organizations can respect the fact that we've got that criteria in place.
Moving on to AEOA, Commissioner White.
I'll keep that.
Okay. Arrowhead Health Alliance.
Oh, I'll keep that too.
Arrowhead Regional Correction Board, Commissioner Gamble.
Yeah, they're very effective board, good. I'll stay with that, thank you.
And I want to stay with that also.
ARDC Commission, yes, I have been reappointed chair for the year on that, and Commissioner Gamble will be alternate. Arrowhead Transit. Can't say that I've attended many meetings at all.
No.
Is that worth keeping?
I have never been to a meeting, though, and it is part of AOA. Depending on what our board's priorities are, our community's priorities, it just seems like transportation is high up there, but I don't know the best way to leverage that priority. So.
Being under AEOA, if they would you consider?
Well,
looking into
indeed,
it?
but it's like the, our best spokespeople for Arrowhead Transit is coming out of the hub, and the number of riders and the challenges that the hub in this community, because Arrowhead Transit doesn't go out very far, and, we're scattered throughout the woods. And so, yes, I would, but absolutely, it's a valuable resource. Valuable, so.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Gamble?
I would just say that, that seems to be a subset under AOA. And I don't think it needs to be a separate one. If there was something that
Yeah.
came up that we had to discuss, but you could talk to AOA about that, just saying, we've listed this and wonder why it is, because do we not discuss this? I know when I was on AOA in my previous term that we discussed that issue under the auspices of AOA, so I think that could be eliminated with an inquiry as to AOA.
Right.
I would agree, maybe just kind of a slash and that it's AEOA/Arrowhead Transit, and that you would serve for both meetings if called.
Sure, if called, and just, but I do know the most conversation comes from the hub about Arrowhead Transit.
Right.
And maybe they know more about the Arrowhead Transit Transportation Advisory Committee, which I think is what is the full name of what we have listed, so.
Yep.
I see meetings from 2024, but I don't see any from 2025.
Yep.
So we will continue with slash AEOA with Commissioner White and Commissioner Mills as alternate.
And it could be, Madam Chair, that the Arrowhead Transit Advisory, with the change in leadership impending and the building focus, that some of these other things have not been on the radar like they have in the past. But I would say it'd be good to just inquire.
Okay, that's it for the A's. Moving on to the B's. Benefits and Wellness Committee.
To our listening public, hang on, we got 23 more to go. No, 25 more.
Commissioner Mills, you still working with that?
Benefits and wellness? Yes, I am, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Budget and Facility, well, that is, I'm Board Chair with Commissioner Gamble. Building Committee, Commissioner Mills.
I think that's tabled for now, and maybe put under the budget and facilities, but
Agree.
Yep.
I would agree.
as, you know, as we look at our capital improvement plan, there might be a need, but I think typically the Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee has their members, and the Building Committee was largely just an internal with department heads talking about issues. I don't feel the need to be on that right now. I don't know if you see a need for it to exist right now, but
To your point, Commissioner, we have not met. What we've done is Brooke has been sending out weekly emails, or maybe not weekly, bi-weekly, on the updates with some of the building projects. I do think as we look at the CIP in the future, we might need to bring a group together to discuss. I think we could dissolve this committee and just have an ad hoc committee for a CIP as we move forward if needed.
yeah, and my suspicion is commissioners wanting to know more about the state of buildings and that sort of thing, and wanting to be more involved there. So, like I said, I don't feel that need right now, so I'm comfortable with that suggestion.
Okay, so we will dissolve that committee as needed in the future. BWCAW Collaborative,
And I'll continue with that. If you recall, I'm serving because Pat Eliason stepped down. And I think if I had a conflict and I asked Pat in advance, he would do his best to attend.
okay. Okay, cannabis. The reason I kept that on there, Commissioner Mills, is that, you know, we're waiting for now the feds to really decide. The state is having conflicts also, but in case
Yeah.
something would come up.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a placeholder.
Yep, there's still value, and I think, as things come up, whether it's between the city or the county attorney's
Yeah.
office or public health, or there's still a lot of moving parts. I don't think anything has landed at this
No,
point.
no. Well, this one, Census Redistricting Committee, that only happens every 10
10
years.
years, we take that off.
We can take that off.
Unless you're in Texas.
I was going to say, well, no, I wasn't going to say that.
No.
But I was going to say, we do not want to forget about it.
No.
And so
No,
how
no.
do we,
I've already
that
brought
in.
it up to Auditor Powers, given the Gunflint view and the heights, that already we have potential for some significant changes in our next census.
well, and going through the process the last time, really what was shackling us were the actual census blocks. And we can change those, but it's a process that you have to do before the actual census, and so it's at least a year before, so that's 2029, it's 2026 now. 2028 would probably be better to tackle the census blocks, you know,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm like, let's not forget about this.
No.
No.
It's not
I
necessarily
think as soon
relevant
as
until-
the apartments are filled, we should start thinking and looking at that.
Okay.
Yeah. Apartments aside, just those census blocks, like, for instance, Commissioner Johnson and I could not break large blocks into smaller blocks, and like around the hospital in particular. Maybe the View is part of that, I can't remember. But having a block of 500 people versus 2, you know, and not being able to shift, you know, you can't just take 200 of the 500. And so that's where we have to, if we're going to redefine those blocks, it's a process. And yeah, Auditor Powers he knows about it. I don't think he's excited about it.
So
I
we'll
think it's a
eliminate that
rotating-
for now.
Eliminate the census redistricting? Okay.
Yeah.
The joint powers, Grand Marais Cook County joint powers, Commissioner Mills?
Yes, although, you know, I think we're just kind of waiting for administration, or we haven't met since your tenure.
So I can provide an update on that, and we, related to the law enforcement, we have met with the city and discussed the law enforcement contract, and Jean is in the process of updating that, and then we'll bring it back to Administrator Roth. So we
Cool.
did not reconvene that group, because basically what was previously determined is what we move forward
Great.
with no changes.
Okay, good.
So I think we're in a good place for that.
Okay.
Um,
Cross it off as far as, or what were your thoughts?
I think having it just as an ad hoc again, just
Okay.
if needed, might make sense. But I also wonder if that is the same with all of the joint powers.
I would agree.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think the
We
ro-
haven't met on any of these. The other thing I would say on that in looking at these, when we look at joint power agreements, whatever they might be, that there should be something that's stated in that agreement that gets signed and agreed to as to when it is to be revisited. Because we have just let this go on and on and on, and it does not make any sense at all. So we need to, in that negotiation, agree to review on a basis that makes sense.
So, Madam Chair, I can respond to that and say that with some of the agreements, I believe it was in the contract that the frequency in which the contract needed to be reviewed. And as you've stated, we're behind with those, but I think as we look at the next contract agreements or joint power agreements with the city, I'm looking at our county attorney here as well, but I believe we could add some language about the frequency of review as well.
And I think, I believe the road street maintenance had been resolved with the city. And then that's when we moved on to the law enforcement. And my recollection is, just like you said, that got to a place where there was general agreement, and then it was working out some of those details. And it sounds like that has happened. But then we can move on to the, kind of the next one. You know.
Correct. So when I started in this position, I wasn't aware that we had these joint powers committees, to be honest.
I want
and
to tell you
so-
that.
So I met with Administrator Roth, and we discussed kind of the outstanding items that are listed here, the road maintenance, the YMCA, law enforcement, the prosecution contract, and determined a schedule of which we would address the items. And we wanted to start with the law enforcement contract because I believe that's the longest, or the
Outstanding.
outstanding contract at this point. And so once we complete that, then we'll move on to the next item. And I can certainly share that schedule with you. We didn't put timelines in place, just one item, the kind of prioritization, and then we'll move forward. But I can certainly share that.
It sounds like you're on it. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
So all of those right now will remain?
As an ad hoc committee instead of,
Ad hoc.
yes.
Okay. Then committee addressing racial equality?
That committee has not met in the last year, so I recommend that we remove it. The likelihood is that it will be part of community leadership. We have identified 6 topics for the current year to review and discuss as community leaders, and my guess is that that will be something that will happen in the upcoming year. But because we meet every other month, we can't get to all the topics that were on that list.
Okay. That will be removed. Communication armor towers?
Excuse me, I have a question, Commissioner Sullivan. So when you meet, when you address racial equality, are you putting together educational opportunities for the public?
That was primarily the focus of the group. We had book reads and then book studies, discussions afterwards. We had a couple of events that were held at Grand Portage for Indigenous Peoples Day, but they were community education. That is the primary focus. You are correct.
Communication armor towers, Commissioner White?
Oh, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I want to, yes,
Okay.
I'll stay with that.
Community Center Board, Commissioner Gamble?
That's a required, and so,
Mandate.
again, when you're looking at, that's one that's mandated based upon the
Community leadership?
community center, that, I think
That's right.
that's not mandated.
No,
It's the
it's
the extension that's
extension,
mandated,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, but you have been attending, they have meetings, and we all get the minutes also.
Yeah, yeah.
Community leadership, we're all involved there. Cook County Grand Marais Economic EDA, Commissioner Mills.
Yes, ma'am.
Cook County Chamber, Commissioner White.
Yep.
Commissioner Sullivan, alternate. Cook County Child Care Solutions, I will continue with that when they get reorganized. I'm looking forward to that. Cook County Coalition, Lake Associations, Commissioner Sullivan.
Continues to be very active, and we meet monthly on the first Thursday.
Cook County Council on Aging, Commissioner White.
Yes, I will stay with that.
Mhm. Cook County Extension, that would be myself and Commissioner Gamble, which is required that we have 2 people on that. Cook County Historical. Healthcare Planning Committee, we haven't met for quite a few months. I'll keep it as a placeholder for now and find out where we're going with it in the new year. And Cook County Historical Society, Commissioner Sullivan,
Happy to continue with that.
and Commissioner Mills as alternate.
Okay.
HRA, Commissioner Gamble with Commissioner Sullivan as alternate.
That's an effective board,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, very, very active, good participation.
Cook County Invasives Team, Commissioner Sullivan with Commissioner White alternate. Cook County Mental Health Advisory Council, Commissioner White. Commissioner Sullivan as alternate. Restorative Justice Committee, Commissioner Gamble with Commissioner Mills as alternate.
Madam Chair,
Continue.
that is one I would recommend removing. They are reorganizing, I mean, at a point becoming a nonprofit and different things, but in my participation on it, this is one where I think that the information can come to us, but the participation, I don't think it, while it has a high-profile name, if I applied all the criteria, this is one where I think that information can come to us through a means that doesn't need to be that we have an assignment.
And how do you think that would come to us then? Through public health or an individual coming to give us an update?
Well, I think once that they sort of get organized under their new umbrella, that once all those particulars are worked out, then I think relative to those points that I made in those recommendations, I think that there's alternative means to get that. And we would say that we support your organization and we appreciate the information that helps inform this board in decision-making. But we would like, if we have a, a summary or presentation that is made or something, we could do it that way. But this is something that should be discussed. But if you're asking my opinion, I would say that this is one that we would have an alternative means. And maybe when they get reorganized and settled, it'll be easier to evaluate.
Attorney Peterson?
Thank you, Chair. I think that a lot of what they discuss can be related to the referral process or their actual internal process. Also, Kathy and Travis from our Victim Services position is very active on that board, and I'd be happy to offer any updates to the board as needed.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and there's been some changeover and long-established people on that and whatever else, but this is the kind of discussion that says, how can we do that? And that makes sense, so.
So we'll remove this then, okay?
Yeah, and I think it's good to have an awareness, like we talked about, the awareness of what is our primary role in governance as a county. And then when we look at all of these organizations that come alongside in supporting the benefit of our community, that we should have that list and then know how is it we get that information that helps inform this board. So by no means do we not want to be communicated with, but we need to find ways to do it, I think, that are good stewardship.
Okay, thank you. That will be removed then. Soil and Water District, Commissioner Sullivan.
Happy to continue in that role, very important group.
Commissioner Mills, alternate.
Sure.
Okay, Cook County Wetlands Management Plan Committee.
We
Commissioner
have
Sullivan.
not met in 5 years, and I would recommend that we take that off. Certainly, I'm happy to jump in if the group does need to meet.
Okay, we'll have that removed. The Cook County YMCA Advisory Committee, Commissioner Mills.
This could very well be, it's more of an oversight committee at this point. They have an advisory committee that is reformed, and so this could be one where things are just communicated to us. I don't know if Commissioner Gamble has an opinion on that, having attended a number of them.
Yeah, we've had two, have we not?
No, they're monthly, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay, well then this is maybe under something else that's YMCA. I participated in two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an opportunity. What it is it's an opportunity for the city, the school, the county, and the Y to discuss goings-ons at the Y, basically, and just being in the know between the four of them. But I feel like that can happen administratively, and it's really changed over the years, both
Yeah.
its form and function.
My position on it would be that the more informed we are on the why, the better off we are. And I think collectively, and I know in that first discussion in my first term with all of the players, that it's very important. If there's a way, that connectivity is hugely important. And if it can come someplace, then that's fine. So I wouldn't discount the importance, but.
Administrator Treble.
And Madam Chair, I'm happy to join that. I've joined it several times in the past. I also have a monthly meeting with the director and the regional director from the Y as well, and so I can certainly keep the board up to date on happenings.
They did announce on the news that now Cook County's included in the broader, all of the Ys. They have opened one in Superior now, Hermantown, Duluth, and Cook County. So we're all under one umbrella now.
Okay, so what did you guys decide with that one, with the Cook County YMCA Advisory Committee?
Scratching it.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, Board of Appeals and Equalization, we're all part of that. Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Where are we with that?
I successfully exited that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They have a very strong group that AMC had recruited from after the formation, and now it's all official and state. And, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm They asked for my interest. I said I'm very willing to serve, but if there are other commissioners that are chomping at the bit, they can go for it.
Thank you, then.
So we can scratch that one, sorry.
Duluth Area YMCA. Any further comments?
Still on that board. Yep, got to hear the goings-ons of that larger picture like you're talking about with the merger and just other regional issues, so
Okay.
quite a lot of value there, and having that connection, I think, with our tenants is important.
It is. Emergency Operations Command, we're all part of that. Emergency Preparedness Committee, Commissioner Sullivan.
Happy to continue with that. It fits very, very well with Firewise, which I also serve on, so I would be happy to continue with both of those.
I'll continue as alternate. Firewise Committee, also you indicated.
And Commissioner White regularly attends those meetings, and I think that's really important.
General Government Leadership Committee, I am Chair, Commissioner Mills Vice Chair. Gitchigami Trail Association, I attend those bi-monthly, and Grand Marais Tourism, District 2, Commissioner Gamble.
We've not met, and if they have met, I have not been notified at all of any meetings. So
Commissioner
as far
Sullivan.
as I don't know if it's active or not. I guess I could check and find out if it's an active committee or not.
It is, it's just a subset of Visit Cook County.
Correct.
And so there's the West End, there's up the trail, then there's Jamada, and they all have kind of subcommittees of Visit Cook County.
That
Commissioner Sullivan.
subcommittee then has not met.
That I don't know.
Commissioner Sullivan.
They have met, they meet when we meet.
Pardon?
And so.
Oh, right now.
So that has been a conflict. Yeah.
Okay, well, that could be.
I think what we can do is leave those on there, but not really count them as part of our committees until we find out that there would be a viable date when we could attend. They are very valuable. I recall when we divided these up, it was based on our districts, so it very much connects with the business community within our districts. And again, we just have to have a date and time that works.
Right, okay, we'll leave it as is. Grand Marais Library Board, Commissioner Mills.
Yep, still on that. Change in the schedule, though. Sorry, Jan, I did not get this back to
It's
you
okay.
beforehand.
I'll be making plenty of updates.
Phew. It's the third Thursday at 5 p.m.
Okay, third Thursday.
And, if they set the schedule differently, I'll have to update you again.
Commissioner Gamble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Mills, it's my understanding, unless this has changed, that in the language in the agreement with the library, that they can raise their budget 5% annually unless the board says something. If every department could raise their budget 5% annually, I think they'd be tickled pink. So I think that should be addressed, because either that or we need to provide some oversight. So when we're talking to our departments in the budget process about holding the line, we've got an automatic 5%. If we don't say anything, they automatically get it, and it's in our contract agreement.
Yeah, there is the room for that, but clearly as a member of the board, and the other members of the board, going over the budget, it's not taking advantage of it every opportunity. It's if needed, so.
I think if you look historically, if you want to track their budget, it'd be interesting to find out if they have raised their budget 5% annually, and we've never questioned it.
Okay.
I just think we have to rethink some of those things in that context of, it's like we've got the hub that would like to be a line item. That's a commitment that we make financially, the same way when we say we'll give you a 5% and we won't question it, unless we question it. So I'm just saying we should have some checks and balances.
Sure, yeah. I'll leave that to Administrator Treble to tackle another joint powers.
Yep, it's on my list.
Thank you.
Grand Portage Community Task Force, Commissioner White?
Haven't met in 2 years.
Oh. What do you think?
Commissioner Sullivan.
I'd recommend we scratch it, but that if they do meet, that then we
Then we'll
consider
just- Yeah,
jumping back on board.
Okay. Remove that.
yeah.
Gunfin Trail Association, District 4, Commissioner Sullivan?
We'll keep that. If they meet at a new time, we'll attend.
Gunflint Trail Association Byway Committee, District 4. Commissioner
Very
Sullivan.
active, and they meet 6 times a year. They're actually meeting today at this time. They started at 10 o'clock, and they will decide today whether they're going to begin their meetings every other month in February, or if they'll wait till March. They're deciding even or odd number months, so
Okay.
I'll get back to you with that schedule, Jana.
Healthy Housing Network, Commissioner White?
Pretty exhausting group, Andrea Orris. The amount of activities and not just activities, what is being done for our community people with housing. She alone is, you need a nap after listening to her, but no, it's very important.
Okay. Commissioner Sullivan as an alternate?
That would be
mark?
fine, and that ties in very much with work that the HRA does, and also with former CCLEP. You'll notice CCLEP was not on this list. They have dissolved because of all of the grants that they operated under have gone away. So there is no funding. But their mission is still important, and so happy to continue with
Okay.
this.
I'll put you down as alternate. Highway 61 project improvement. I'm putting this here as a placeholder. They just formed in December for the West End Highway improvement starting in 2027. And I will attend their meetings. I think it's important to help them understand, after our flooding in June 2 years ago, the importance of road reconstruction, ditches, all of the stuff that goes along with not only a good highway, but then the safety for people who live along from Tofty to the county line. So it's just a placeholder. I won't, require any per diem or anything, just for this year, see how it goes. Highway Advisory Committee, Commissioner White?
Oh, I'm not giving that group up. They're fun.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Happy to
alternate.
continue, yeah.
Hospital District, Commissioner Gamble?
This is one, the hospital obviously is a significant entity within our community. I just wonder if there's not with our joint leadership, that there might be an alternative.
I know that
To getting
Commissioner
that.
Johnson brought that up.
Yeah, and again, in my first term on that, it was like, they relied on us because we were on the agenda. We gave them what's happening here in the county. That doesn't happen. So basically, I listen like anybody else would listen. I don't have any voting authority or whatever else on it. And I think with the joint leadership, if we start to channel information in effective ways, that we could do that. So my recommendation is that we would eliminate this as a committee assignment, and that we would look at an alternative way of getting that information. When I listen, when they talk budget, when they talk their recent staff survey, that's interesting. The results of that are beneficial, and it's a learning experience to teach us, the importance of involving staff and understanding, and I know we've suggested that in the Personnel Committee, timing is an issue. But this is a discussion. It's a huge player, important to our community, but I think there might be another way of being able to
Commissioner White?
And I'd like to add that at the last community leadership meeting up in Grand Portage, there was an abundance of information from so many community resources that, in my recollection, from years past, that has not always been the case. And so
That's why I say, I
it's a
think-
great avenue
Yeah.
for sharing information. And there was discussion, questions and answers from the people that are actually should have the answers.
Administrator?
Madam Chair, I would offer that I can reach out to Kimber and see if there are ways that we can get some of that information on a monthly basis so that I can present it to the board or provide it to the board as well.
And typically on the agenda, they're going to go through their financials, and what we learn from those financials as to ups and downs and how we're moving, and of course, a reorganization relative to new board members and the staff assessment. I mean, those are important things, things that they're looking at from a community assessment of services provided, but I think there are ways that we can get that. If I attend that meeting begins at 9:30 and can go till noon. And there's some things that are relevant that I take in my notes, but I think those things are things that certainly could be available to us in other means.
This past year, they also took their board meetings on the road.
Yeah.
So they
Yes.
came down to Lutzen for one of their meetings. I believe they were up the Gunflint.
In Grand Portage.
In Portage, yeah. So that's a positive step too, and they're hosting our Thursday evening meeting this week also, so. Lots of ways to keep up with what's going on, I believe, but there could be more. Labor Management Committee, Commissioner White and Mills.
And Madam Chair, if I could add, I did reach out to some county administrators to learn if commissioners are typically engaged in labor management committees or negotiations. And in most areas, they are not. In some counties, they are. I'm certainly supportive of having commissioners engaged, but I also wanted to offer that perhaps we could go down to one commissioner if there's interest in doing that and having an alternative.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I also thought, without that input, that it would make sense to have one individual rather than two, and I was going to make the same recommendation for personnel. It seems kind of heavy to have two commissioners serving. So my recommendation would be one commissioner.
So we have labor management and labor negotiations, which are two different things. So labor management have one, as stated. Commissioner Mills?
Funny story, in keeping with the nature of the committee, I think we should ask the committee about that.
We could, yeah.
Because it was, I mean, that was the formation. It was a group thing. So I know that the labor groups very much appreciate commissioners involved, both in the committee as well as negotiations, and it is not always the case that commissioners are. And business agents also see value there. Although we are maybe not as professional as a professional, I still think it's valued. But I'm, again, open to where that discussion goes.
Commissioner White?
And I think we should have two, because I could not make the last one. There was, I can't remember, there was every intention, but then at the very last minute, I couldn't, and so it was important that Commissioner Mills was.
Could we have a primary and an alternate?
Yeah, we absolutely could, but again, I think this should be part of the Labor Management Committee's discussion.
Okay.
And then, bring it back here. As far as negotiations are concerned, I don't have a strong preference. I would like to be involved, but whether or not there's two commissioners, I'm open to that.
Commissioner Gamble?
Go ahead.
I would just add that I think that's a really good point, and I agree with Commissioner Mills. I do think that we should ask the committee. So I actually would shift my recommendation and would want to have that discussion before we would move forward with making any changes to it.
Commissioner Gamble?
So, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, this is an area that, and understanding the connection between the management committee and negotiations, and how they serve differently. That would be something that I'd like to know. The other thing I would say that I think it's hugely imperative that there's representation from commissioners. And because this is an area, as far as labor management, that we make decisions on, the more informed and the more involved we are in that process, this is where that happens. This is hugely important because it gives perspective. This is a committee that I would be interested in. I did sit in the labor negotiations in my first term, but just throwing that out, that I think it's vital. I'd like to know the difference in both committees, but I think it's hugely important that there be representation.
The next round of negotiations would be in '27?
Begins this year.
This year.
This year, okay.
Madam Chair, I just had a discussion with Allison about this yesterday, trying to understand when we would start. And so we've started discussions about when that will be, have not determined the time frame yet, but yes, the contracts end this calendar year, so we need to do that this year.
Okay. Commissioner Mills?
I'd recommend starting in April. And the difference between the two, the Labor Management Committee is a committee for representation of all the bargaining units as well as management. And the idea is just to have open communication between the different groups of what's going on, what's working, what's not working, if there's any issues that can make things smoother or that sort of thing. It's should be limited to items that are not included in negotiations. They're completely separate. It's largely relational building. And then negotiations, of course, is, feet to the fire, negotiating contracts.
How does that differ from Personnel Committee on the front end?
Well, which part?
Well, on the front one, the management as opposed to the negotiating.
So this is through the Bureau of, is it Mediation Services?
Mediation Services.
So it's a official state process and formation that was recommended by the Bureau of Mediation Services after we went to mediation in negotiations to try to work out some of the issues that were brought up in negotiations that didn't necessarily need to be there. As far as Personnel Committee, I feel like that's a lot more, or at least in the past, I've been on there in a number of years now, but that was a lot more job description focused, a lot more focused, I guess. Whereas the Labor Management Committee can be almost anything under the sun.
Yeah, and I would just add, well said, Commissioner Mills, but the Labor Management Committee, that it's truly about ensuring that there's communication established between the unions, and like Commissioner Mills said, that you're addressing issues that might not, challenges that might be out there, and things before they become an issue, and also things that, like Commissioner Mills said, are not specific to the contracts that need to be discussed. But the Personnel Committee, I think over the next year or two, the real focus is going to be on policies and updating the policies. So ensuring that we have a committee that's in place, that we can bring those items so that we have staff input before we bring it to the board for approval. I think in the past, like Commissioner Mills said, a lot of it was focused on job descriptions, and we still do review those in that committee, but over the next year, it's really going to be very much focused on policies.
Commissioner White?
And with the Labor Management Committee, will you get the officials from the 49ers to come and to discuss? These are not actual employees here, but it's good to hear them share with all of the people at the table what is coming, what changes might be legal changes might be coming or challenges, and it's just a good opportunity to connect more pieces together, so.
Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the information. I think, having sat on the Personnel Committee initially in my first term and now, that I think that is a committee that needs to find its way as to what its primary focus is and what it'll involve. So when I think if we look at all of these things, if you look at all of the disciplines that are involved in governance, and we connect those disciplines to different committees, where are we covering them, and who is best aligned to address those issues? And I think in the Personnel Committee, we at least when asked the question, so what is the role of this committee, and what was thrown out as an example, I thought it was a little thin. So I think we need to build more into that committee's function when you think of all of things that address personnel issues.
So
Of
looking,
training to be in there.
so the discussion is to hold this right now, and Commissioner Mills will discuss it with with that committee. Is that right?
The Labor Management
Yeah,
Committee?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suspect it'll stay, but,
Yeah,
but
okay.
yeah, we can
That's
certainly
fine.
discuss.
Okay. And then the labor negotiations, Commissioner White and Mills would continue?
Unless Commissioner Gamble would be real interested in the negotiation. They
I
seem
would
pretty
appreciate it,
flawless.
but having participated in my first term, I hate to keep referring to first term, but just giving a context to
Sure.
understand.
No, I would be, there's nothing, I mean, it's not contentious. It's not a energy-sucking committee to be on. It's actually very energizing.
Yeah.
But I would be willing to let you
Yeah.
take that.
I appreciate that. I thank you for that. Dropping off with some of these other committees, and as far as my recommendation, that would,
So I would be in favor of putting, unless,
So Commissioner Mills right now is the alternate.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, and there's just two commissioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There isn't like a primary, secondary, really, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Thank
who
you.
will be doing that? Who will be doing the labor negotiations, the primary, or the?
Gamble and Mills.
Gamble and
Gamble
Mills.
and Mills.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Okay, Superior, anything else on that? Lake Superior North Shore Watershed One Policy Committee, Commissioner White.
It doesn't mean an awful lot. But it ties in with the North Shore Management Board, it ties in with water everywhere, so, and it ties in with, I can't think of the acronym to tell you. It ties in very nicely to know all this information, so.
Okay. Commissioner Sullivan as an alternate?
Right, and typically, it's no more than quarterly. I would say putting quarterly down is reasonable.
Okay. Then Lake Superior Popular River Watershed. I'm keeping that on there just because there is some work to do in the future, and then we also have the pending sale of new people there. So we'll keep that for now. Land Policy Advisory Group, Commissioner.
My recommendation would be to omit that or delete it. We have not met in 5 years, and if we need to jump back with that, we certainly can.
Well, I was going to say, another funny story is, I think the Cook County the Land Use Guide Plan will be top priority for land services in the coming year, but with all the transitions, I don't know if that top priority is going to gain teeth or not, but
What we can do is leave it as a placeholder, and if they meet, come back.
I'm assuming that's what that's for, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Laurentian Resource Conservation Development, Commissioner Gamble.
Madam Chair, participated in that in my original term, and very effective board. They held a lot of informational conferences that they sponsored, DNR and things, that was very effective, and it was a revenue generator. There were about 6 different boards similar to this around the state of Minnesota. Since that time, a lot of them have fallen off, and I think this is the last one to remain. I did attend their initial meeting when I came on this term, and I spoke with the director there, who was a director previously, and just said that I don't believe we'll be participating. I didn't see what I saw in the first term, and there was much overlap that could be touched on through Firewise and other committees. And so my recommendation, and I just said that we would not be participating. I think we pay $400 to $600. So when you're evaluating that based upon, are we covering this elsewhere? And the fact that this is sort of a fading organization in the state, my recommendation would be, and I have not participated at that first meeting.
So this should be removed. Is that what you're saying?
So I would
Yeah.
eliminate this
Yeah,
one.
okay, we'll remove that. Law Library Board, we just met last week, so we'll continue with that. Leadership meetings from Grand Portage. Administrator, you're connecting with Ann Deschamps?
Anna Deschamps, that's correct. So I have
Okay.
connected with Anna Deschamps to ask if there is interest in creating some leadership meetings with Grand Portage, and there is. So I'm just waiting to hear back on potential dates.
Okay, so that will be a new one. Would we have a commissioner?
Yes, I think it would be.
And I'd be
Commissioner White.
interested in that,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And I'd be interested as an alternate.
Okay.
And
Commissioner Mills?
so I was just wondering about this versus the Grand Portage Task Force. I don't know what the Grand Portage Task Force
haven't met.
was, but I just wondered if it's the same. And we got rid of one and we're adding the other. So I just,
It might be. I
Okay,
wasn't aware
okay.
of the task force, so I'll have
Nor
that
I.
conversation with.
Here again, understanding what the intention of the group is, if in fact they do have bylaws, if they have a mission statement or whatever, and seeing, and if this is something that what we're trying to encourage, which we find through other committees that we sit on, the relationship with tribes, is that if our joint leadership meeting is something that can do that or not. But it's all dependent upon what objective and criteria defines that group, so.
And Madam Chair, my hope is that if we are able to create these meetings with Grand Portage, that we create a charter, or we create some sort of joint document that outlines the intent, what will be discussed, the frequency, and things to that matter.
Okay, so we will keep that with a further result, whatever happens with that. Thank you.
Okay.
LTTA, which does have meetings in my district, so I will continue with that. MCIT, I'll continue with that. Commissioner Sullivan as an alternate. Minnesota Power Advisory Committee, and
is that, I'm sorry,
That-
Madam Chair, is that medical? Okay,
no.
yeah. It's probably all
We
wrapped
can-
up in Tack Harbor or
yeah,
something.
it's, so we can eliminate this because I put Tack Harbor at the end.
Okay.
Minnesota Power eliminated. Minnesota Transportation Alliance, Commissioner White.
Yes, I'd like to continue with that.
Okay, do you need an alternate?
I
No.
don't think so,
Okay,
because they haven't met. I'm assuming they will meet, and
okay,
it would tie in with Northeast Minnesota area
Transportation.
transportation.
okay. NACO, I'll continue with that, with the Health Committee. Northeast Minnesota Transportation Partnership.
Yeah.
Commissioner White
Yeah.
and Gamble as alternate, okay. Northeast Minnesota Emergency Communication Board.
Yes,
And I have a conflict with that meeting, so it would be nice if someone else could be alternate.
I could be alternate.
But it's the first
Right.
Thursday and it's quarterly at
Yeah.
10 a.m.
Actually, I got an update by email from Mike Keyport about that meeting, and it's bi-monthly. I'm not sure which ones, but on the third Thursday. So I could get more information to you, Commissioner Gamble, if you, and Commissioner White, about
The
that.
third Thursday, okay.
And at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, he didn't make any updates to the time. So
Okay.
I'll just make a note to verify the time, date and times, and let Commissioner White and Commissioner Gamble know.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, and maybe I won't have a conflict. It would depend on the time.
Yeah, so,
But we'll have Commissioner Gamble do that.
okay.
Okay, Northeastern Minnesota Consortium
That's-
Advisory Committee. Yes, I'm part of that. We meet twice a year. Right now, I'm vice chair. Northeast Minnesota Land Management Coordination. Well,
Just started.
Let's just take it off,
I
and
think
if
so.
we have a call to serve, we'll
Mhm.
bring it back.
we'll be there. Okay. Northeast Minnesota Office of Job Training Program, Commissioner Gamble.
Is another one that I would remove.
I think we've been round and round with that for the last 3 years.
I mean, having sat on it
Yeah.
previously and sitting
Right.
on it now, the thing is, you have to look at it, if you use the evaluation of what is the benefit back to this county. Much of it is retraining and retooling for a mining community
Right.
and resources that are used in an area. And every time I sit in these meetings over the years, I'm wondering, where does this trickle back to us? I don't see us here.
No.
So respectfully, I would say, you know, if that can be defined in a way, but when I'm looking for the evidence of us, I don't see it, so.
No. We could remove that. Commissioner Mills?
Yeah, we do have a joint powers agreement for that group, and so I think we should probably revisit that before. But I agree that the value is not direct for Cook County.
Yeah.
However, if there's IRRR dollars tied into this joint
Yeah.
powers agreement for tax, you know, like, it's just, I don't know all the ins and outs, but
Sure,
we should
no,
look into that.
Since
for
it is
sure.
a joint powers agreement, is that something we should have our legal counsel take a
Well,
look
it
at?
definitely should be looked at, because then it becomes a mandate, it will say, you know, based upon agreement, so we should revisit that prior to, but,
Just don't sign anything this year then, right?
yeah.
So how are we looking into it then?
Our administrator?
I think between Jean and I, we can try to
Okay.
determine what's outlined in the joint
Okay.
powers agreement.
So we'll leave it there for now. North Shore Collaborative, Commissioner Mills.
Yeah, that meets biannually, although there is an organizational meeting before that. And I believe it's the first Wednesday still, but I just don't know which months. I think it was.
So it still meets
September-
those?
Yes,
Okay.
we're still good.
Okay. And Commissioner Sullivan is alternate. Okay. North Shore Forest Collaborative, District 5. Yes, we do meet. Right now, Commissioner Sullivan is alternate. I don't know if that works out for you in case I can't make it.
It
The
does.
last Wednesday of the month, and it is a Zoom.
It does for now.
Yeah.
And I just have a question. That was the meeting that both you and I showed up for a couple of years ago in Beaver Bay,
Yeah.
the community center. Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner, is that something you would be interested in doing?
Well, I have been attending.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Why don't we just
Right.
have you be the alternate then?
Okay.
Okay. North Shore Management Board, Commissioner White. And
Oh, I like that one.
That's why I never get called.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even when they make me drive in the dead of night. Well,
North Shore Scenic Drive Council, I'll continue with that. These are both interesting things along the North Shore. North Shore Waste Advisory, Commissioner Mills.
Yeah, just meets as needed and it goes similarly with I think there's also a joint powers agreement for that. But I think we've only met 3 times in my tenure as commissioner.
Okay. Commissioner Sullivan?
And that is listed as one of my assignments.
Oh,
Even though on this sheet, when I looked at what we had, so if you would like to take that, that's fine.
I didn't know I was an alternate.
We changed it last year because I was going on the Solid Waste Committee for AMC.
yeah, it doesn't need to be me by any means.
You can take my name off as alternate.
Okay, I'll be alternate and Commissioner Sullivan.
All right.
I want to make sure I have this right. So Commissioner Sullivan will be the primary and Mills will be the alternate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Gamble?
if I could suggest to Jana that on your flow chart here, maybe you want to have a column that says whether we have a joint power agreement or something that shows whatever that classification might be, if it's required by statute or it's mandatory, if it's joint powers. But we should have something that indicates that because it's coming up now in our discussions, so we should be mindful of that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
That'll take a little time to kind of search that out yet.
Sure.
Yeah. Would be handy, for sure. Northern Counties Land Use Coordinating Board, Commissioner
Yeah,
Gamble?
excellent board.
Mills? Okay. Northwoods Food Project, Commissioner Mills?
Yeah, yep, going strong there.
Commissioner Sullivan, alternate. Parks and Trails Commission, Commissioner Mills with Gamble, alternate.
I don't, is it the 4th Tuesday? Yeah, okay, yep.
And here's an old term, Passion Pit.
We can take that off. Done.
Yes, we can. Okay.
We can instruct our new county administrator on
Yeah.
what Passion Pit was all about. I'm sure she's been wondering.
No, actually Rena shared that with me,
Ah,
so I
okay.
have the history.
Being in Booze Country.
Personnel Committee, Commissioner Gamble with Commissioner Sullivan, alternate.
Yes.
Pigeon River International Emergency Management Committee,
Yep, I'll keep it
okay?
if they ever meet again,
All
which I
right.
think they will.
Okay,
Oh, and that was another one that Mike Keyport sent an update. The Pigeon River International Emergency Management Committee meets quarterly, so
oh,
that's what he said.
okay.
That's what I
Emergency
know.
Management, okay. Planning Commission, Commissioner Sullivan, and I'm alternate.
That's fine.
Poplar River Watershed, just leaving it on there, like I say, actually, that's a duplicate
Yes.
of the other one, depending upon the golf course sale, so,
Okay.
yeah. We can leave Lake Superior Poplar Watershed on, and then remove this, it's,
The management board.
yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
okay. Prevention Coalition,
Yep.
Commissioner White?
I'll stay with that.
Okay. Public Health and Human Services Advisory Council,
It's
Commissioner
fine.
Gamble and Mills, okay. Public Health and Human Services Board, we're all part of that monthly. Public Safety and Transportation Committee, Commissioner White and Gamble,
They hardly ever meet,
has not met.
seems.
Okay,
I can speak to that, and that is, at this point, we're leveraging that as an ad hoc committee.
Okay.
So do we
I
eliminate it?
believe. I wanna
Yeah,
make-
yep,
Well-
yep, I didn't have that updated, you're
Is that
right.
correct, Jana?
Yeah, I think it's one where we check it, like, I think it's in every other month, and we check in ahead of time to see if there's anything to
Right.
discuss. And we did meet in
Yeah.
November or December, because there was something to discuss. I think that tower policy, so,
correct.
okay.
Commissioner Mills?
Yeah, I'm wondering if this had been split up with public safety and security, and then transportation's the highway advisory, or if this is,
This, I think, is different.
okay, I don't have perspectives.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I did ask Rowan at one point, how frequent, what this committee was about, and he had shared that in the past, they had met more frequently, but at this point, they just meet as needed. If they have something, like Jana had mentioned, we had a policy to review, but it is separate from those two.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Rainey,
oh, and I should ask, like, I've got there, the primary commissioner signed is Commissioner White, and I have Commissioner Gamble listed as like two commissioners serving on that, not a primary and alternate. Is that correct? What do you think? Or we should research it maybe? I don't know.
You're speaking of the,
Public safety.
Public safety
Public
and
safety and
transportation.
transportation.
Yeah.
Oh.
And again, we haven't met very often, like
And that's
twice.
the
No, I
one
mean-
where the sheriff shows up and,
I think we've just met by teams too.
Correct.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would add that I think because we don't meet very frequently, but because it's reviewing well, we've had one since I've been here, but because it was reviewing a policy, it was helpful to have commissioners' input
Okay.
at the table. So I think if the board approves, I would like to continue with two people on that committee.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Commissioner White and Commissioner Gamble then.
Okay, great.
Okay. Rainy River Headquarters, one watershed, one plan.
And I am
Sullivan?
still serving as president, and we are likely going to meet quarterly.
Okay. Revolving loan fund, Commissioner Gamble. with
well, I
Commissioner-
think it's an important provision we've not met. And again, in my first term, we met regularly, but I think given what the EDA is doing with money that you don't have to pay back, it's sort of, if as a business, if I have a choice to have to pay it back or not pay it back, I'm going to go to the fund that just, I don't have to pay back.
Okay.
So again, we discussed this in budget, but I think that's an issue. It's an important committee, and it was funded by the legislature, and it's done as well as the community, and it recycles because it continues to provide. So it's an important committee, but we've not met.
And Commissioner Sullivan as alternate.
That's fine.
Okay. Safety Committee, Commissioner Sullivan with Commissioner Mills alternate.
That works well.
Okay. Sawtooth Bluffs Planning Committee, District 2, Commissioner Mills and Commissioner Gamble alternate. You have not
Madam
met.
Chair, I just have a question, is that, and Commissioner Mills can speak to this, but does that not fall under the auspices of Parks and Trails?
Yeah.
Sure, yep.
So
It's
can
kind
we
of a
just,
sub.
it's a subcommittee?
Yeah,
Well, it's never met since I've been commissioner.
right, that's why I think it should just be under Parks and Trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that we could cross this one off.
Yeah, because if they want to have a special meeting or something else, but otherwise, we've always discussed it in Parks and Trails.
Yeah, I don't know why it's separate. I just know that, I think it was separate because there were other areas that Parks and Trails was trying to get a hold of, and Sawtooth Bluffs was a little more focused and more city-focused as well. There was more city participation on that committee. But like I said, we have not met since I've been commissioner.
And we could ask Travis
Yeah, we can ask Mitch Travis.
if he thinks it's covered under Parks and Trails, or if it needs to be, and it could be moving forward if something, transpires, that there's going to be more focus, but at this point,
Yeah, I was just going to say that I was wondering if this had something to do with the joint powers agreement that was hoping to be formed. And so I have no issue taking it off or whatever, but I just don't want to wreck any
Yeah.
processes that have been on hold for 9 years or whatever.
And Madam Chair, I would recommend that I reach out to Mitch Travis and learn more about this committee, that we could sunset it for now, and if there is a need because of joint powers or other reason to ensure that we have this, I would notify the board so that we continue with it.
And I think it was created before Mitch was here, and I'm pretty sure Mitch has never been on it, but Tim Nelson
know.
would
Okay.
have some more
Quick
perspective.
before he's gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Security Committee, Board Chair, that would be me with Commissioner Mills alternate. Septic Appeals Panel,
We have not met, nor has the slash disposal committee, so I'd recommend we eliminate those and bring them back if we need them.
okay.
I think we need the septic appeals legally, but
Legally?
I
Okay.
don't know, again, Tim would know that. And I don't, it could be the same case for slash and solid, I don't know what all the statutes are for
Okay.
that, but.
So maybe we
But-
need to check septic slash and solid waste.
Yep.
And I would say if there is a solid waste committee, I should probably be on it.
Well, that can just be the northeast one or whatever.
Northeast,
Yeah.
yeah.
NEWAC.
Okay. Did you follow along there, Jana?
I think so. So for the
Oh.
septic slash and solid waste, probably check with like Tim Nelson to see if those are required or not.
Correct.
Okay, so.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I don't know, Commissioner Gamble, if it was you who with the solid waste committee, it was while we were talking about the construction or the idea of the new transfer station that we met for this. And versus NEWAC as the Northeast Waste Advisory, that's more of a regional thing where there could be a joint power, so.
Right.
And that's what Commissioner Sullivan would be on, but it's just, the Solid Waste Committee, I think, is more Cook County
Right.
versus NEWAC
Correct.
is the region, so, just for perspective there.
Okay.
Yes.
Strategic Planning Steering Committee?
Hmm?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I've just, so have we met?
But there was only, it was like, I remember for sure once with Commissioner Johnson, I thought maybe once with you, but it's
I
few
don't
and far
recall.
between.
I don't
Yeah,
recall.
it was very specific, I think, for the transfer station and the different satellites, so.
If it's focused, you know, as you suggest, it's not a regional, it's specific to us, and looking at the recycling and the merger, and there's issues still to be discussed, so I think
Yeah.
it's as needed. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, it's very ad hoc, for sure.
Okay. Strategic Planning Committee, Commissioner White?
We haven't met. I mean, this was with the last administrator, and I believe our new girl on the block is going to be pulling us together to do this.
Correct. So, Madam Chair and Commissioner White, my plan is to gather that committee together again towards the end of January and start that effort.
Sure.
At this process, I'm checking in with all of the staff committee members to make sure that they can still serve. But I do want to move forward with that.
And the Strategic Planning Steering Committee, Commissioner Johnson was the alternate.
I would be interested in being an alternate on
Or
that.
I think there was two on the committees,
Would that be
I
good?
think, but I'm not certain.
Were you
there.
one?
No, it was you and Commissioner Johnson, is my understanding.
Right. Oh, yeah. There were two
But
of
not
us.
an alternate, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I would support that as well.
Okay, so White and
So-
Gamble,
Commissioner White and alternate Commissioner Gamble.
Thank you.
alternate
It's a
or
non-vote.
have
No,
two
no,
attend?
Just.
The two.
The other thing, excuse me, Madam Chair, Jenna, is that, I mean, you're gonna have to buy 11 by 17 paper here, but additional or alternate, if there's some way that we could show that it's the additional,
Well,
Well, she
what
does.
I've
She-
maybe you
done
have, but
is
She
if
lists
it's
it
an
as
alternate,
alternate.
I have a dash and I say alternate, and then if it's.
I see alternate,
not-
okay, if it says
and
alternate.
So, I don't know.
Okay, thank
So
you.
Yep.
so that's my way of eliminating one extra column, but does that work?
It
Yeah,
does.
Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
as long as they
It fits in there.
point it out to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alternate means alternate.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, Taconite Harbor Advisory Committee, you know, just
You're
waiting to
there.
hear how many people they want on it. They don't want any political people right now, so it's in my district, and Commissioner Mills is on HRA, so,
Yeah, it's
We'll just wait.
going, and all the updates and agendas are on the EDA website, any presentation materials.
yeah.
And after the consultant goes through their process, there's going to be decision points. So I presume it's going to be the whole board at that point. But
Yeah. Yeah.
this is if. I
This
don't
is
know.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I represent 3 townships, so I attend those meetings. Vacation Rental Appeals Panel, Commissioner White?
I got to do that once.
Okay. Maybe they don't do it very often in appeals.
Yeah, you have to get it right the first time around.
There you go.
Vacation rental
Gonna
review.
leave it on for now?
I think it's part of our vacation rental policy or
Right.
short-term rental
Yeah.
policy that we
Correct.
have that, so.
Okay, and Vacation Rental Review Committee? I'm with that, and you would be the alternate, Commissioner
Sure.
White? And then I do attend Visit Cook County, and you're alternate on that. Before we adjourn, is there any additional comments or questions?
I do have one additional question, Commissioner, Madam Chair, and that's the community leadership meetings. I know we mentioned that all commissioners were engaged in that, and we have not posted those meetings because I don't believe that's the intent. The goal, I think, is to provide a space for community leaders to talk about things that are happening within their organizations. And so I'm wondering if we could do a rotation with that or assign commissioners instead of having all, to keep within the intent of the meeting.
Well,
It's not
I-
just our meeting is my concern.
Being that it's on that Thursday night, I have a conflict that's also a township meeting. I
Okay.
used to attend virtually until 6:30. Now it's kind of encouraged that you physically be at the meetings.
Right.
So I won't be at the meeting Thursday, and that's fine, you know. I'll have to, what I do is I decide what's on the township agenda. And if this meeting would come up that I would feel more important, I would send them a review of what I want them to know in the township. So it would be pretty much up to me to decide, not you to say, well, we'll change it because of Ginny. You could change it because of anybody on
Right.
that committee. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I just wanted to share, it's important to know what direction we're taking, because I had agreed to take minutes for the organization. And if I'm not going to be attending, I want to make sure to let them know that for Thursday.
And I would very much like, I found that last meeting to, well, wait, the last.
Last
meeting-
one was at City Hall.
The one before that in Grand Portage. I found those to be so informative that I think there's value to have all the commissioners, not that we get paid to go, but just to be able to hear that and then to have conversations with the people that are there. So we're not making decisions. We're
No.
just having conversations. We're not, yeah.
So,
Commissioner Gamble?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would agree in our discussion about committees and alternative means of getting information, that this is a critical, if we're going to not have participation, then we miss that opportunity of other things that we've discussed in that regard. But this is the discussion that we should have based upon how we're seeing these things overall. We'd obviously have to post it. It might be that if there's representation from the hospital and one person, not all the board members show up, and one person from the school or whatever, that we would defer to a commissioner to represent the information so that we're not overwhelming when it comes to prioritizing, conversation. But I think being there and hearing, because this is one of the alternative means to get the information we're not getting from some committees that maybe we sat on. So I just say it's a discussion, but that would be my perspective. I think it's critical, but I think we don't want to overwhelm, and I think we would designate the representative each meeting for, what that would be.
And Madam Chair, that's consistent with what we're seeing at the community leadership meeting, is most organizations have 1 or 2 reps, maybe a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
more on occasion.
Yeah.
But I agree that if we have the full board attend those meetings, that would shift the dynamics with the representatives there.
And I think that because this is refining itself, this leadership committee, that explanation would be there, that we have found that this is very beneficial given the substantive nature of the conversation as we move forward. And so we would encourage that, because I've seen the hospital board members there, I've seen members with the HRA, that come, but when we define what our objective is and things, that would sort of play out in that regard.
So, Madam Chair, I think one option, and I'm kind of looking at Jana to see how this lands as well, but I think one option could be, once we know what the agenda is for the meeting, we could email the commissioners and find out who is going to be in attendance, so that if we have an obligation to post
Yeah.
the meeting, then we would do that if we had over 3 members. Does that approach? Yeah, Jana? Okay.
Because we've not had all 5
Correct.
commissioners at the table ever?
I think we have,
We
but
have.
that was when it was meeting via Zoom.
Right,
Depends
Oh,
upon whether there's food or not, I think.
Indeed.
that too.
Oh, I'm going to add a column to the spreadsheet of like
Food,
food
yeah, yeah.
provided. No,
Thank you.
just kidding.
Treats.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else before we adjourn?
Oh,
Our first meeting in 2026.
yeah, Madam
Yes.
Chair, I think it'd be good to have a motion in support of the resolution for St. Louis County.
Okay.
yes,
okay.
indeed.
Yeah, and so that letter moving forward, but we want the support of the board, so I would make a motion that we support sending a letter to the legislature relative to the request on behalf of St. Louis County for their transfer station.
Okay,
I'll
we-
support.
Okay, my comment was that all of us haven't read it yet, but I assume that it's straightforward.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I've given it here.
Yeah,
but it-
okay. Any questions then?
Yeah, the last I had heard, and it's been a while, from Tim in our solid waste management plan, regional solid waste management plan, is there was 2, we were supporting 2 different projects. And I want to make sure we're supporting the right one, if we're supporting one. And I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
my question.
The other one was much farther away, right?
Well, there's Canyon, and then there was, I can't remember.
Both in St. Louis County?
Yes.
Does it state there?
One is, yeah,
But I don't know,
both.
I don't know that our priorities, there might be some nuance there.
The cover letter from Commissioner Nelson says if you have any questions, so maybe we could call and just clarify so we know. I'm not aware because he just handed it to me and it was the first I was aware of.
Yeah,
the
and Tim is
project.
going to have a lot.
Yeah.
I would recommend that we put a hold on that until our next meeting and we have time to research it.
What's the timing, though?
Well,
Well, the legislature
Legislature.
isn't meeting till February,
It
Yeah.
so.
doesn't have a
Yeah.
date identified in the letter, so
Yeah.
I think we have time to dig into this a
We're
little bit.
just wanting to know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
It's always in the details, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, there be no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you
Thank you.
for going
Okay,
through
say
and
that,
slogging
say
through
that
all
again.
this.
What 2 projects?
30 days,
Appreciate
have
it.
September.
And I'm thinking of long ways
It was
of
2 different
bathroom. I have
transfer
to
stations
uncross
that
my
we
legs.
Yeah.
support in our